Okay, virtual currency earnings. How do people get paid in virtual currency? I mentioned earlier that there are many people, I have lots of clients who are providing services for companies overseas, and they are receiving their payment in Bitcoin. Now, they're not going to get W-2s for this income. They're not even going to get 1099s, but these are people who they don't want to get in trouble and they're actually going to come in and confess all their income, and this is income in Bitcoin. So yes, they get paid in virtual currency. Now, there are companies in the US, believe it or not, who are paying employees partially or entirely in virtual currency. And I have talked to a couple of employers, and there's more and more of them as people are jumping on this bandwagon, who are paying so most of the ones I've talked to, it's kind of partial. They're paying like 90% of the salary in US dollars and 10%, as in Bitcoin. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to help people get involved in Bitcoin. They believe in it, they're passionate about it. They want their employees to get comfortable. If the employee sells it right away for dollars, okay, that's fine, who cares? And yes, of course, they are including both the dollars and the Bitcoin in, the W-2s and their 941s and et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Also, there are other ways to earn virtual currency. There are online programs where people get little tiny bits of Bitcoin for watching videos, completing surveys, doing all kinds of online things. And they get these teeny tiny rewards that eventually add up. Now, clearly that's not a trade or business. So, what is that? I guess I kind of feel like that's just other income. And I would put it on line 21 in the absence of any other guidance to the contrary. Participating in social media platforms such as Steam. So Steam, and there are others like it, is a company that it's almost like, it's kind of like Facebook. Imagine that on Facebook you got like a 0.000001 Bitcoin or something whenever you liked somebody's post or replied to a post. So Steam is a social media platform that rewards you for participating, and Steam holds it for 2 years and then releases it actually as real life money. So that's income. Now the amounts aren't enough that someone's getting 1099s or 1099Ks or whatever from it, but it is income that people have. So one of the issues we have as tax preparers is we want to make sure that we have asked all the right questions, that we haven't overlooked something, that someone doesn't come back to us later and says, you didn't tell me that was taxable, right? That's what we want to avoid. So best practice, in my opinion, is we want the client to list all their virtual currency income sources in writing. And of course, then you're going to scan that into your software so that you have it for the future. So these are things we need to be paying attention to, because yes, it's money, and hundreds of thousands, millions of people are doing this, and we're not asking the right questions. Okay, sales. This is really fun. Billions of dollars of virtual currency is traded daily on exchanges. The leading virtual currency exchange in the US, which is Coinbase, holds 35 million wallets. This is how many people have reported a virtual currency transaction in their tax returns. 807 in 2013, 893 in 2014, 802 in 2015. I said in part one, I personally believe it's the same 800 people over and over who have gotten with the program. They're actually probably tax preparers. Okay. So do we think we have a serious underreporting problem here? I mean, billions of dollars are being exchanged. Coinbase, which is only one exchange, holds 35 million wallets. 800 people have reported the sale of a virtual currency. So we all know what's going on here, right? We all know that we have clients who have virtual currency sales. We're not asking, they're not telling, and we know as Circular 230 practitioners that we cannot operate on that philosophy. So we need to be specifically asking our clients if they have any virtual currency dealings. And it's an excellent engagement letter question. In part 3, I'm going to talk about how we need to be changing our engagement letters and client questionnaires to make sure that we have covered this area. Okay, so what happens when we sell virtual currency? It's just like any other kind of property. Remember, virtual currency taxation is just a lot like property taxation. We have long-term and short-term just based on the holding period. Inventory methods probably allowed, the IRS didn't address inventory methods, in terms of selling this property, but I think it's fair for us to assume that LIFO, FIFO, and specific lot are all going to be allowed. Fees are added to basis, just like anything else, adjusted basis. And now here's the tricky part. There isn't a friendly broker to send us a 1099-B in February, or in my case, May. So it's up to the client to provide basis information. And here's the rub. Over and over again, you will hear, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know what my basis is? And you have to bite your tongue to not say, well, because you're the one who bought it, right? That was me biting my tongue. So what they want to do, by and large, is they want to send you their CSV files. So my first virtual currency client sent me 75 pages that look like this. And after I picked myself up off the floor, he wanted to know how much would it cost for me to deal with this, for me to create from 75 pages a spreadsheet that could then create an 8949 that he could report on a Schedule D. And I think I said something like, 6 or 7 planets is what it would cost. There just is no way. This is not happening. So what do we tell our virtual currency clients to do? If what they have, this is what is printed out from their exchanges, are these CSV files. So, then what? So what we tell them to do, guys, is we tell them to use some of the software that's available that's going to convert CSV files to something approaching an 8949. Now, first I want to say that none of these are fantastic. With all due respect, sorry everybody, none of these are great. This software is a fairly new development in the world of virtual currency, and my clients have reported some problems to me with them, specifically that the fees are not always included. Other problems is that when things get moved from one exchange to another, and these virtual currency users, oh my God, they just love doing this. They sit in front of their computer and they are moving stuff all over the world and having a fabulous time. But it confuses the software. Another thing that is confusing the software is donations and gifts. Okay, it doesn't necessarily recognize that, oh, that was a donation. Oh, you didn't just sell it. Oh, the software has difficulties in that new exchanges and new coins are constantly being created. So, we have Bitcoin.tax who will, send an announcement saying, oh, we're now supporting these 20 new coins. Yay! But anything that you bought in that exchange before that might not be processed well through their software. So it's an ongoing problem. Only the client can fix these errors. The bottom line through all this is that you have to let the client provide you with the information. Don't let them send you their CSV files and say, good luck with that, because you're going to want to poke your eye out with a stick by the end of it. We really have to make sure our clients understand that they're responsible for giving us the information. They have to find a way to make it correct. This is no different from everything else we deal with all year long. That client who calls and tells you that, so I found out I own some land and I sold it. And you say, great, well, what'd you pay for it? And they go, well, I didn't really pay for it. I inherited it from, Granny Jean when she died. Oh, okay, when did Granny Jean die? Well, Granny Jean died 30 years ago. Well, what was it worth then? Well, they have no idea. but neither do you. And it's not our job to make this stuff up. So what we try to do is encourage them to go, do their best to get you a number. So when I have clients with virtual currency who say, I have no idea what I paid for it, I tell them, well, try to figure it out. Go look at your bank account, figure out when the money, was used to buy this coin, look it up, find out what the coin was worth. You need to do that. Okay, so don't let this become your problem, because they're going to try, a lot of these people are going to continually try to put the monkey back on your back. Don't do it, because you're going to end up hating this work so much that you won't want to deal with virtual currency. So don't go there. All right, more on sales. Imagine the client's horror. Remember I told you that one of my clients got a 1099K because he was running all these sales. He's a day trader. He's running these sales of virtual currency through his credit card. and he brought this into me, and I was delighted, because wow, I'm actually getting to see a 1099K that someone issued right along with the IRS's requirements. I was pretty excited. He was not as excited as I was, surprisingly. And you'll notice that both of the requirements here were met. Box 1, that's more than the 20 grand, right? $429,000. The number of payment transactions is more than 200. It's 1,063. So a 1099K was required, and it was in fact issued. So I'm smiling, yay, wow, 1099K. My client's having cardiac arrest in front of me, so I had to kind of sober up really quickly. So here's the question that I still haven't figured out. This is going to be for 2017, is where am I going to put this on the tax return? Because, the IRS typically expects to see this on Schedule C, right? Because normally if someone is taking money in through their credit card, it's because they're selling stuff, and typically it's because they're in business. Well, in this case, this is really Schedule D stuff, because what is he doing? He's day trading. He's trading, Bitcoin for Ethereum and Litecoin or whatever. So it's really property sales. So I'm still kind of chewing on this one. I'm almost thinking that I would put it on Schedule C so that number shows up on the tax return, on the transcript of the tax return, and then nominating it over to Schedule D. I'm still chewing on this. But see, this is kind of an endlessly entertaining subject, right? Something like this walks into your office and you get to scratch your head and think, wow, well, what am I going to do so that my client doesn't get a letter from the IRS? And, we have to launch into a lot of explanations. So, and if anybody else has any ideas on how to handle this in a tax return, I would certainly love to hear it.